Your weaving should start looking like this, okay? Now we've gone over how to tabby weave, we've gone over how to add in a new piece of yarn, and now I'm going to show you how to have multiple colors in one row. So I'm at that point where I got to the end of my orange yarn there, and now I want to make like a long rectangle of this purple, this periwinkle. I ended my orange there. I went under last, so with my new piece of yarn, we go over this one, under, over, under. Nothing's different there, except when I want to make a rectangle of this purple, I'm not going to go all the way across. I'm going to only go partially over. So I'm going to stop on this warp thread here, and then I'm just going to loop back without going all the way over. Okay, later on I'll show you what to do to be able to have colors over here in the same row. But for now you have to just trust me. Avoid drawing. I pulled on that warp thread to the side there. If these yarn ends sticking out get in your way too much, you can trim them down a bit. I'm about to. I'm going to trim this down because it started to get caught up in my weaving and it gets annoying to have to constantly pick these ends of the yarn out of your weaving. My idea is I want to have 3 squares in each row for a while, and now I'm going to make that second square. But how do I do that? So the end of the yarn of this purple, again ending somewhere in the middle of my loom, not on the side over here. That way we have nice clean sides. But I've decided on my dark green yarn for the next color. And what you're going to do really is not too complicated. So I'll get right up close for you. So I want my green square to be just over here. So I want the end of my yarn to end somewhere in the middle, and I'm going to make it end right about here. I'm pushing aside the purple and the orange so I can see where I want my yarn to go, and I want it to end on this thread. So I'm going to go under here. Oop, actually, to keep the pattern going, I'm not going to go under. I'm going to go under this one. And I want this end of the yarn to just be hanging out. Okay, again, somewhere in the middle. Your loom might look differently from mine, but the same rules apply. If you want to start a new piece of yarn, have the end of it hanging out in the middle somewhere. And I'm going to still do my over-under action. Always, no matter what, over, under, over, under. And now we come to the part where we need a little bit more guidance. What to do when we get here. How do I get these colors to sit right next to each other? Most beginners will, I went under last, so most people will loop back on this thread and go back, but then there will be a gap. So how do you connect the two colors? I went under last. I'm going to go over here. You'll push aside the purple threads so that you can find the spot between 2 loops of purple. So I'm going to push down that first loop of purple, and now I'm going to go in between that first loop and that second loop. So under last over here. Now I'm going to go under this, in between these 2 purples. Since I'm going to go over this one, I'll go under here. I will pull this through, keeping the ends of the yarn sticking out, making sure that's still good. And now, since I went under last, as I turn around, I'm going to go over this, and I'll go under, over, and really, It's that simple. So I'll show you again. Pulling my yarn all the way through. Making sure I'm not doing things too loose. So I'm gonna go over, then under, over, under, over. And now, again, I'm here. I'll push that loop down, and now I'm gonna go over, then under, and over, under. I went in between those loops. Push everything down, and I like to push down that loop so when I come back around, I can just put my needle through. I'm going in between these purple loops, not in the loops, okay? Don't go in them. I'm going in between the loops. That's how you have multiple colors in one row. And I'm gonna go all the way to the top.